City of Lawrence Common Council, the Economic Development Committee meeting is now called to order. Today is November 15th, 2023, and it's now 6:22 p.m. The first item on the agenda, the only item on the agenda this evening, is proposal number 14, 2022, authorizing the issuance of the City of Lawrence, Indiana Economic Development Revenue Bonds, Harrison Ford Properties, LLC project, federally taxable, and lending of the proceeds thereof to Harris and Ford Properties, LLC, and authorizing and approving other actions in respect thereto. So, first order of business, proposal number 14, 2022. I think this was introduced a couple of years ago initially to the council. Now I want to just open up the floor to whoever's going to represent the Harrison Ford for just your, brief introduction to this committee. Yes, please step forward. And then I will open it up to questions from the counselors on the committee to Harrison and Ford.
My name is Jim Ford, and I'm an engineer working for Harrison Ford. I work for Tim Harris. Tim Harris regrets he had a prior commitment for tonight. Otherwise, he would have been here.
So you're the one who's going to answer the questions.
If I cannot answer, I'll take it, and I'll get you a fast as possible, like tomorrow early answer. So if I cannot answer, but I'll answer anything that you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I want to open the floor up to counselors to ask any questions that you have in regards to proposal number 14.
Madam Chair, I just one quick logistics question. On the very first page of it, it says the commission published a notice of public hearing. So was the public hearing already held for these bonds?
I'm not.
I hope not.
Adam Sturwell with Barnes and Thornburg. I'm filling in for Brad Bingham tonight. So I think what we're looking for is ultimately, right, is the favorable recommendation to go back to the council. But I think looking at the timetable now, so there will actually be a notice published in the Star by the 14th, and then the public hearing. Everybody said the 17th?
Get my calendar.
Not sure what all has been accomplished so far. Where's? I guess that just published. Maybe that was just published on the 17th or 14th. I'm not sure if that was in fact published, but I don't know if it wasn't. Have to get back to you on that one. But this timetable was dated October 10th. But that would have to go to the Economic Development Commission meeting. So I'm not sure when that would be, but it looks like the week of the 27th is what they have on here. So I'm not sure if that public hearing has been held or not yet.
So I'm sorry, the 27th of what month?
The week of 27th of November.
Okay, so maybe they plan on noticing it on the 17th of November, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what it has on here. This was dated on the 10th, but so a lot of the documents you're looking at are drafted to be approved at those later meetings, assuming that all of those things have taken place, but I don't think they have taken place prior to this meeting.
Okay.
But this is, I think, more of the recommendation for the overall project and some of the parameters to move forward back to the council.
So the public hearing would not occur in Lawrence? It would occur?
No, it would occur in Lawrence.
It would occur in Lawrence.
But I'm not sure if it's occurred to date or not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think so.
But that would still have to be done before anything could be issued.
Okay. Is there a second vote that has to take place at the public, after the public hearing?
By the Economic Development Commission, yeah, for their approval. They would have to approve, and then the bond ordinance can be adopted by the council.
So the Economic Commission downtown, the city county building?
No, here.
Here, okay. Okay. Sorry, yeah.
No problem. Just filling in as well, so trying to make sure we got it all straight.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
So I do have a question. We received a letter of support for this proposal from Dan Zerner. In that letter of support, it was the very first part of the letter of support stated that there were no risk to the city. However, in the closing of the letter of support, it said that there is limited or minimal, I can't remember which word was used, risk to the city. So which one is it? Is there no risk, or is there limited or minimal risk? And if there is limited or minimal risk, what is that risk? And like, I need like a definitive answer, not,
The last paragraph.
So this is all, the bond is solely payable from a pledge from the reuse authority on the TIF from just their project. So it is limited to only the TIF generated from their project, and they're the ones buying the bonds. So they bear the risk of whether this gets repaid or not. So I'm not aware of any risk to the city.
okay. The other thing that I had a question is, I understand how it's structured, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that there will be a lease payment made,
Right?
right? Am I correct about that?
That sounds right.
Where's the lease and how much is going to be paid? And over what period of time? I mean, is a lease for $1? Is a lease for $10,000 a year?
Hi, I'm Mark Cannon. I'm general counsel at Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford Properties is a separate entity from Harrison Ford, the business. So the Harrison Ford Properties, since they own the land and will be doing the improvements, that's where the TIF will be done. Harrison Ford leases that property, so it's the same ownership, but they're just different entities for legal and tax purposes. So we provided a copy of the lease, I believe, to, I don't know if, we forwarded to the attorney that is representing us on this, and I don't know if it's been forwarded to the council yet or not. But so Harrison Ford, it's coming out of the same pocket, but it's all part of the same business with two.
So who, I'm sorry, so, okay, I
Harrison
understand
Ford-
there's two different companies, I understand that.
Okay.
Who is receiving the lease payment?
Harrison Ford Properties will receive the lease payments from Harrison Ford LLC.
Okay, so the Fort Harrison Reuse Authority or the city doesn't receive
No.
any of those monies?
No, it's the TIF is just, I think the reason we need to disclose leases by statute, that if the property subject to a TIF has a lease, we just have to disclose that information. So it really doesn't have anything to do with the TIF itself, because the entities are just transferring money back and forth, but the TIF money is coming into Harrison Ford Properties. I don't know if that's making,
I understand what you're saying.
okay. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other follow-on questions for that? Okay. So, who was provided a copy of the lease?
Our attorney at Fageray Drinker, did he provide that to you as well? Or?
He might have provided it to Brad, but the lease is not with the city's not a party to the lease.
Yep, I understand that. Well, I mean, I understand that now as of just a couple of minutes ago. When it was presented to us, we were under the impression, I believe, I can't speak for everyone else, but I was under the impression that the lease payment was going to either the Fort Harrison Reese Authority, that the lease payment was going there. I didn't realize that the lease payment was going from a Harris one entity to the other. So thank you for that clarification.
Can you, if you don't mind me jumping in,
No, go right ahead, Councilor Denny.
how would the bond proceeds then are distributed to FHRA? Or what happens after the bond, let's say, is issued? Who does the development? Where does the checks come from for the engineering firm?
Yeah, so
So on and
they,
so forth.
my understanding is the developer will buy the bond.
Okay.
So they'll issue it, the bond will be issued, they will pay for the bond, and then that'll go to a trustee bank, and it'll be distributed out to the developer by requisition request for, the approved parts of the project. So that's how they're able to use the bond proceeds. And then, as the TIF is generated, 75% will go back to that same trustee and then make payments to the bondholder, which will also be the developer. So they're on the hook on the front end to be responsible to make sure it gets built, everything, and then on the back end for any risks if there's no TIF or insufficient TIF generated.
And I read through this. What was the term for the bond? I apologize, I just don't remember.
I think a max of 20 years.
Max of 20. And is there an interest rate cap in the
Yes, there
offer?
is, but I'm not, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Say 6?
6? Okay.
Sorry,
But these are federally
we got notice
taxed.
of this yesterday.
No, it's okay. Take your time.
And sorry, apologize. I had it almost at our fingertips.
I think the question, that's fine. I think you answered. If it wasn't like 12, I guess is what I was getting at. Yeah, 6s. So if, in the unlikeliest of chance that Harris went something happened, they're not able to make any more payments. So is the city, I think that Mr. Zerner's letter said there's a very limited risk to the city. So if something happened to the business entity itself, is the city then on the hook for the bonds, or is still FHRA on the hook, which is part of the city in some ways?
You're really limited to the turning over 75% of the TIF.
Okay.
So if the company goes bankrupt or leaves, the bond will be an asset of the company. However, it is only payable from that TIF, and they will waive default. If there's a default non-payment, it just goes up, but the city doesn't have to raise taxes or anything like that to ever make payment on the bond.
And if we don't do the project, there's not going to be an increase in the tax base, which would trigger those payments.
Okay. And that's not a question that we're just picking on, Harris, that was something we've asked pretty consistently on all the projects. I had another question just jumped in my head.
The credit of the city is not on the line in any way.
Okay. And then as far as planning and looking at things, have you spoke with any of your neighbors? Because you're literally directly across the street from our new library, from some large residential projects that are going in as an industrial project, which I understand how the industrial project fits that location. But that near other residential areas or the library, has there been any comments from the public or anything from our zoning folks or folks from the fort?
I can take that real quick, sir.
Okay.
Jeff Fest, President, Fort Harrison Reuse Authority. Our dealings with either Keystone, Cityscape, or the Otis, which is the Cityscape development, even in the process of the library. Our folks at Harrison Ford have been out at Fort Harris since 1997, and I was on the Reuse Authority when we started in 95, and so we have not had either any inquiries from either the library, Cityscape, which is the Otis, or the Fort Village Apartments, We've had no inquiry. We didn't have, even when the development of the True Hotel was coming online, they did not raise the specter. Even with when they saw, with the new rail spur coming in, we have not had any inquiry.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah, with the, I don't remember the name of the business, but it was on 56th Street at the, just on the other side of the rail line. I think there was a couple questions about noise or if there's anything there, but I don't think the rail line coming and going will have too much noise or impact your neighbors there in any capacity.
I hate to go north versus south. On the north side of the railroad, we have had no inquiry.
Any other counselors? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was able to confirm that the notice of the EDC public hearing will be published on the 17th, and the meeting has been scheduled for the 27th. And Joe Murphy has made sure there's going to be a quorum and everybody will be there for that meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other questions. I don't know, how comfortable do you guys feel with making a recommendation? You feel like you have all the information you need, or you feel like you need more information?
I didn't hear Counselor Freeman.
So I'm asking, do you feel comfortable making a recommendation, or do you feel like we need another meeting for more information?
I kind of agree with Counselor Freeman, and making a recommendation prior to the bond public hearing is always getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Yep. Okay. So we will reconvene after your public hearing. Our next council meeting, Kathy, what is that, December 4th? I'd like to see if we have 5:45 available for December 4th, and if we do, that's when we will reconvene. We will try to get any other questions or concerns from either this committee or other council members to you prior to that meeting so that we can move forward. Thank you. Thank you for your time. This meeting is adjourned.